Greetings from the Emerald Isle, whisky lovers. My name's Al, and this is Whisky Street. Hey folks, welcome to Big Al's Whisky Den, and thanks for joining me on my spiritual odyssey through the wonderful world of whisky. Now today, that journey is bringing me to an exciting place, and that is Four Roses single barrel, but it's not the standard Four Roses single barrel, which I'm a really big fan of, but it's a Blackwell store pick all the way from San Francisco. Now this little beauty down here is aged for 8 years and 11 months. It's bottled at 60% ABV, and that's a nice hefty 120 proof, and it uses the OBSF recipe. Now I have to say at this stage, thanks to my bourbon-loving buddy Alan Witthoft for sending me the sample. You, sir, are a star, and your generosity means a lot to me. So, Sancho, my friend. As most of you will be aware, Four Roses does things in a unique way, and this is that unique way. They have 10 distinct bourbon recipes that are made up from a combination of 5 proprietary yeast strains, 2 separate mash bills, and it's all handcrafted. Now each recipe is represented by 4 letters. For instance, as I've said earlier on, this Blackwell store pick is OBSF. Now all the recipes contain O, and quite simply because that stands for the Four Roses Distillery. And they also all contain S, which stands for straight whisky. Now after the O, there is either going to be a B or an E, and that indicates the 2 distinct mash bills. Then come the letters representing the 5 proprietary yeast strains. Now V stands for delicate fruit, O is for rich fruit, F is for herbal notes, K is for slight spice, and Q is for a touch of floral essence. The standard Four Roses single barrel uses the OBSV recipe, while this one uses the OBSF. So that means what we've got here is the mash bill is the same, and that B mash bill is 65% corn, 35% rye, and 5% malted barley. But there are 2 big differences, and they are the yeast strain used, and I should be getting a bit more of herbal notes instead of delicate fruit that you would expect in the standard Four Roses single barrel, and I'd be expecting a wee bit more oomph overall with the extra proof, which I'd expect to give a wee bit more of a fiery bite to the rye spice in there, considering there's quite a high rye content. Now according to Four Roses, OBSF will provide a mint, fruity, spice, full-bodied bourbon. So let's get right into it and see if that's true. Tasty. Slant you guys. Straight off, just as it suggests from the recipe, there's a definite hint of mint there. But it's not just mint on its own, it's a fruity mint. And coming into play with it, I'm getting some like hay, and a touch of cereal, that kind of thing going on. So while the mintiness is there, it's with mingled in with all those other aromas. Now, let's get into it a bit deeper. As it opens up, as you get in there a bit more, the floral notes are becoming a bit more emphasised. Now it's still hay, still some cereal in there, but what's starting to come into play now are some stone fruits. I'm getting like nectarine, almonds, and even a hint of apricot there as well. And it's all fairly low key and delicate, but still with a hint of richness. Now interestingly, I'm not getting any spicy elements at all, and that's probably somewhat surprising given there's a high rye content to this and it is 120 proof, but I'm suspecting that'll probably change when we get into the palate. So let's go right there now. Now this is the bit I've been looking forward to the most. It's got a lovely mouth coating, orange, spicy element going on there, and as it crosses the palate, it's bringing in again some of those other fruity notes. It's plum, a bit of cherry, but while the spiciness is there, it's still pretty low key. Cereal, a nice malty flavour and feel to it. A bit of oats coming into play, and again that underlying orange element comes in with it sort of finishing with some plum and a touch of almonds as well. Touch of licorice comes in at the sides of the palate now. It gives it a darker element, but it then spreads right across the palate again, bringing the lighter fruits back into play. And the fruits are lighter than before. They're like mango and a touch of red apple. It is a bit of an enigma, this one. I was expecting a bit more oomph, but obviously the yeast strain has dampened that down a bit, and it is quite delicate. Nonetheless, bloody good stuff. Now overall, considering the high rye content and the extra proof, this store pick is surprisingly delicate. I'd probably describe it as a BFB, the big friendly bourbon. The proof helps to keep the richness there to the more delicate flavours, and it helps them to sort of linger to a nice satisfyingly long finish. Now this retails at $80, and if you're from the UK, you've got to take into account that you're going to have to spend a bit more for shipping, and Blackwell's does ship to here. There'll be a link down below to their site. Now for my palate, I prefer really bigger, bolder flavours, but there's no getting away from the quality of this store pick. Now, and if you prefer a more subtle, delicate side to your whiskey, then this one is definitely for you, right up your street. So folks, once again, thanks to Alan Witthoft for the sample, and thanks to you guys for watching and for all your ongoing support. I really do appreciate it. So please continue that by giving me a like, by hitting the old thumbs up button and ring that notification bell so that we can keep on continuing our whiskey journey together. And also comment down below with your thoughts on Four Roses single barrel, Four Roses in general, or anything really whiskey related. So until next time folks, stay safe, and as always, drink your whiskey the way you like it. Slunch my whiskey friends. Quietly. Play a little cat fucking top.